Today's a gift we all can feel. The wounds are raw, but time will heal.
What the F? This is going to open up a broader conversation here on After the Bars. We're going to get super political on this one. I'm sorry, guys. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. But as his brother in Christ, I have to talk about this stuff. I have to. I would be doing myself a disservice if I didn't, and I would be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't do it. And to keep your belief that I am my most authentic self here on YouTube. There's no way I could do what else would I do? Oh, hey, Karen Reed's going to court, or hey, check out this, check out that. Like, look, I have to talk about this stuff. I'm sorry, guys. It's going to make me cry. Like, I don't want to be a political platform. I'm a prison recovery show who talks about court, who talks about recovery. But I can't be quiet on this. I just can't. Hey guys, I am Sam. Welcome to the Morning Mayhem Show, pre-recorded. I just couldn't do a live show today for multiple reasons. And, I'll explain that in the community post. I really don't want to get into it there. I have so much to get into this morning. What I really want to start with is, of course, God rest his soul, Charlie Kirk, and all the information that's coming out and all the lies that the left is just spewing right now. And I've never wanted this to be a political show. And I've even toned down a lot of my politics and the stories that we've talked about in recent months. I really have. I've toned it down. I was getting discouraged with some decisions, the Epstein files, where are they? Who's hiding them? Of course, the left had them for all that time and they never put them out. But the right, we have them now, and we said we were going to put them out. They're not putting them out. And I wouldn't really call myself right, but I am just right of center. So for a lack of explanation of where I stand, I will just say the right. But hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but remember, hit that like button down below. It really helps the channel to grow bigger and better and more diverse, and not that weird, creepy kind of government diverse. I'll Samsplain it for you if you want. You want to hear some Samsplaining? Just like the video down below. Now, regarding Charlie Kirk, who was a man of God as I am, a brother in Christ as I was to him. I never got the chance to meet the gentleman. I never got a chance to see him live, but I've watched countless and countless hours of his material. I can see where some things can be misconstrued or out of context be taken as racist or so NRA type pro-gun that, some people would say that he got what he deserved. But as a human being, how could you ever say that about anyone regarding his freedom of speech? I just don't see it. But as it turns out, he was possibly most likely killed by a terrorist cell, and I know that sounds dramatic, and when you say terrorist cell, that seems like the Saudis, and the Afghanis or the Iranians, having terrorists over here working to take down, let's say, the Twin Towers, or bomb something, a subway, a train, to disrupt our way of life here in America. But it doesn't have to be that grandiose. A terrorist cell could just be 3 people talking about the unaliving of Charlie Kirk, or maybe even more people than that who had prior knowledge to the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. And it turns out that there was some communication. It could be up to 9 people that knew. So for this conversation moving forward, I'm going to call it a terrorist cell. And I've already explained what I mean by that. So that's what we're going to get into today. Here, it's not a topic I would want to be talking about. I'd rather be showing clips of Charlie and looking forward to him teaching me something about God that I didn't know, or how to reveal Christ's character in a way that I was not aware of. But unfortunately, that's not the conversation to be had right now. It's not the conversation we're going to be having today. I am Sam. This is the After the Bar Show, the Morning Mayhem pre-recorded edition, and I will be right back. And
Bill Fabio.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I almost had the name. He's like, yeah, that dude, he didn't testify against somebody on a murder trial. All right. Well, let's start with I don't know if I've ever had him on the show. His name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. He's a guy. They call him the body language guy. He's pretty amazing. I think I have shown some clips, reacted to some clips that he's had previous in the past. But today, what he's talking about is Charlie Kirk was unalived by a trans-terrorist cell. I had already seen some things on X, people, everyone's coming out with theories. But here are some facts about what we would call a trans terrorist cell, or who had prior knowledge. Here are some things that had happened, and we're going to let him explain it better than I.
That are coming out. Breaking, another far-left trans account had prior knowledge of Charlie's assassination. That's now 6 transgenders that had prior knowledge of the murder. As of the recording of this video, is more than 20 that people are counting online. 20. Where is the FBI?
Okay, so wow, I claimed like the most could be 9. Here we go.
This account tweeted, "You guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You will know it when you see it. Wink." And then another chud bites the dust after Charlie Kirk had been murdered. This is baffling. The day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, a Discord acquaintance of Tyler Robinson recognized him in the FBI photos, tagging the alleged killer's username with WYA. I don't know how to pronounce that. Robinson replied within a minute, "His doppelganger was trying to get me in trouble," according to the New York Times. Another user jokingly wrote, "Tyler killed Charlie." As per the New York Times, another user suggested that the group could turn Mr. Robinson in and get the $100,000 reward that the FBI was offering. "Only if I get a cut," Mr. Robinson responded. Someone posted, "Whatever you do, don't go to a McDonald's anytime soon," a reference to the arrest of Luigi Mangione. Robinson jokingly wrote, "Better also get rid of this manifesto and exact copy rifle I have lying around." And Charlie Kirk wanted to get out of politics, so I faked my death and now I can live out of my dream life in Kansas. All of this was going on in those Discord channels. So you cannot tell me that this was not in direct reference to the assassination. Maybe
it was absolutely a direct reference to the assassination, and I would say that this is proof of prior knowledge, because they're talking about it, yes, after the fact, but this is the group that he had been talking to beforehand. Do you know what I'm saying? That no one, it wasn't a reach for anyone. It wasn't a surprise. Like I would be like, wait, what, dude? Is this really happening? Call me. Like, did you do that? You know, these guys knew. These guys knew. And if they did know, the FBI needs to prosecute and throw them under the jail. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Was not planning because it had already happened. But this is so on the nose. And of course, they felt that they were completely safe by this. Multiple trans people in the area posted on September 9th that something big will be happening to Charlie Kirk tomorrow. This is just baffling. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 20 accomplices after the fact of Charlie Kirk's murder, aiding and abetting Tyler Robinson. We need to demand all these folks be arrested. They had a moral responsibility to call the police and chose not to. In fact, Robinson appeared to revel in the attention, exchanging meme-laced jabs with acquaintances while authorities scrambled to find the person responsible. Yeah, and then so many accounts that have been already screenshotted, acting like they knew what was going to happen. How did they know is everyone's question. Also, a transgender that Tyler Robinson's boyfriend follows on TikTok celebrating Charlie's murder. This person goes by this handle on TikTok. Were they involved? POV, Charlie Kirk watching the video of his wife getting cracked, and the guy is following the killer. Again, this is the same records on X. You can still, I think that you can still spot them on X, or go to archive. Laura Loomer makes a very good point. How much do you want to bet? We are going to find out. There is a trans terror cell that groomed Tyler Robinson and possibly even provided him with a gun to kill Charlie. It would make sense. You look for a very, very, this.
I don't always agree with Laura Loomer. I think she's kind of a hack. She calls herself a journalist, and really she's a hack. I've seen her steal articles from people before. She's, a big time plagiarist, receives credit for stories broke when she hasn't broken them. But aside from that, I do agree with what she just said here. That he was groomed by this trans focused group on Discord because his boyfriend is in transition. I knew I had a story about that. His boyfriend is transition, and the FBI are interviewing him. We might find out today or tomorrow more information about that. But his boyfriend is in the middle, or his girlfriend, whatever, is in the middle of transitioning. He has doctor's appointments planned. This is all proof, stuff that I've read that are from very reputable news agencies like CNN, Fox, the New York Times, some left-wing publications. Obviously, two of those are that have reported this, and so it very well looks like, because Tyler grew up very conservative. His parents are conservative Mormons. In Utah, he grew up very conservative. He grew up around guns. He knew how to use a gun. That shot would be very easy for any teenage deer hunter, elk hunter in Montana. Any kid that I know that hunts here in Montana that would have been an easy shot for them to make. And it sounds like that's how Tyler grew up, but then went to school and has been indoctrinated, by his boyfriend, by this group, his boyfriend's friends, who are all transgenders. Very sad. Conservative background.
You groom him into doing this, and that is the perfect front to the attack. It seems like this was very premeditated. There are literally shooting clubs now where trannies meet up to learn how to shoot rifles, and they wear shirts that say "Kill fascists" and the Second Amendment is for shooting cops. They're training for war. It's very dangerous. Who provided him with the rifle he used to kill Charlie Kirk? That's another question. And that's why I told you that this court is trying to shake this off so they are not affected in any way. This court tells TMZ they have investigated Tyler Robinson's account and found no evidence of Robinson planning the incident or promoting violence. I'm pretty sure that FBI is on that. In the course of our investigation, we identified this court account associated with a suspect, but have found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on this court.
And TMZ now, they've proven themselves to be pretty far left by the cheering and everything that they did when they discovered that Charlie Kirk had actually died. They actually cheered. The excuse, and I've already covered this on a previous show. The excuse that what's his name, the owner of TMZ, the founder of TMZ, that he said that they were watching a car chase. Yeah, they were watching a car chase, and in the middle of that car chase, the commentators said, "It's now come. President Trump has announced that Charlie Kirk has in fact died in the hospitals, has succumbed to his wounds," and they've matched up the timing perfectly with that car chase, with the timestamps, and they were absolutely cheering at the announcement of that. Absolutely disgusting. I am absolutely banning TMZ from my channel. Like, I will never use TMZ for information. I'm actually on Twitter. I am calling for the cancellation of TMZ, or the boycott of TMZ, not the cancellation. They can do whatever they want, but the actual boycott from me and my listeners or fans or whatever you want to call it, friends, family, to never ever watch TMZ again. And I'm from Hollywood, and a lot of my friends and family live in Hollywood, and so like we're done with TMZ. We're done with TMZ. And if I come to find out I have a friend that works at TMZ, I am going to seriously advise them to try to find a job somewhere else, or to encourage them to find a job somewhere else. They're a disgusting news agency. And so for them to say, "Oh, we didn't find anything on Discord," and even if they did, they wouldn't admit it. So they're lying. And Discord has probably been wiped. They probably wiped it as soon as it happened, or even probably before all those conversations that they had putting this together, because they're not dumb. But you know who is dumb is Kyle Kulinski. Kyle Kulinski is a grifting fraud, and I want to find. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but remember, hit that like button down below. It really helps the channel to grow bigger and better and more diverse, and not that weird, creepy kind of government diverse. I'll Samsplain it for you if you want. You want to hear some Samsplaining? Just like the video down below.
After the bars, the story begins. A fight for the lost, a chance to win.
He did this video called "Breaking Charlie Kirk Shooter Arrested." Let's listen in to this POS.
All right, guys, got some big breaking news here for you. So the Charlie Kirk shooter has been found. It's being reported that it's 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. And I want to go ahead and walk you through what we know at this point about this guy. So first of all, let me just say, the way that they found him literally had nothing to do with law enforcement or the FBI knowing what they were doing.
I agree. I agree with Kyle here on this point. To be honest, the FBI, I agree to a point. He's saying the FBI didn't do like the work to find him, the investigative. They did choose to put the images of the person out, which then Tyler's dad called the FBI, via the sheriff's department, to turn his son in and to bring his son in. So they did do the work to gather evidence, to push those photos. But that's about the extent of it. And, Kyle disingenuously is like saying, they absolutely did nothing to find him. And I agree to a point. They didn't investigate, do fingerprinting and DNA. And then, but you know what? They put the pictures out. They had people on deck ready to start, working through any leads. So I agree with him. Don't agree with him.
Being competent, doing their jobs right. No, what happened was apparently this kid told his dad that he did the shooting. His dad, I believe, is in law enforcement himself. I guess he's a sheriff or something like that. And the dad contacted the FBI. And so if the dad didn't come forward, it's very possible, if not certain, that this kid would not have been found. They were asked out. They seemingly had no leads. They were releasing all this stuff to the public, these videos.
How is that their fault though? If they didn't have any leads yet, that's not their fault. They didn't commit this crime. They're investigating the crime. It's not their fault they don't have any leads yet. They would have had some leads. People would have started to put two and two together that it was Tyler. Friends, family, acquaintances, co-workers. Someone would have put it together that was him, and they would have eventually got him. To say that they were out, they were asked out, never would have got him. That's bullshit. They would have. Kyle Kalinske, this dude is a grifting liar. Let's listen to these dudes' lies and grift. And I can't believe he has 1.797 million subscribers. It's beyond me.
Of the kid like walking through parking lots and whatnot, but he was wearing a hat. He was wearing sunglasses. He looked like the world's most generic white boy you've ever seen. So I got to say, it is very, very unlikely that they would have found this guy if this guy didn't tell his dad that he did it, and then his dad called the FBI. So really, really wild stuff. Then you had at the FBI press conference, Kash Patel comes up and sort of does this victory lap over it. And at the end, he says, Charlie Kirk, I'll see you in Valhalla.
Yeah,
okay,
I know.
First of all, he's a Christian, right? That's like Norse pagan.
Okay,
know about this guy, Tyler Robinson. He's from a Mormon family. He's from the most right-wing part.
So here's Kyle Kalinske's case that he is super far right and that he unalived one of his own, which makes no sense. We already know he's a part of a trans cell that's a trans Antifa cell. And I didn't even get to the other part I wanted to get to, but I'm just so heated about Kyle Kalinske just being a lying grifter on YouTube. We really need to bring back the Smith-Mund Act, which I am going to talk about in a later show. The Smith-Mund Act that is the act that took away the responsibility of guys like me, mainstream media, independent media like myself, to be responsible with what we call facts, and that we need to be crystal clear on what is our opinion and what is fact. Because when Obama and Biden took away, or they softened the Smith-Mund Act and called it the Modernization Act of the Smith-Mund Act, they took away the accountability that news agencies had. And I think it's pretty crystal clear now that it's all of the rhetoric from news agencies calling all of us Nazis, calling us a threat to the way of life in America, that we're taking away women's rights, that we're all racist, and that they're asking for the regular Joe if you're trans or if you're gay, if you're LGBTQ, to take action, to take it to the streets. That's what they call for. I have a whole video of it, and I'll show that right after this.
Part of Utah. As I said, his dad is a sheriff. His mom is a social worker. He lives in a big house. It's 6 bedrooms. Hold on one sec. Let's think you out. He lives in a big house. It's a 6-bedroom house. He wore a Trump costume for Halloween I forget the year, but it was like he was on Trump's shoulders it's like the thing you.
Yeah, before he went to college and was indoctrinated and was radicalized. Yeah, it wasn't even a pro-Trump costume.
Where it looks like you're sitting on their shoulders. He received a gun kit for Christmas. And of course, he's a young white male. Now, the social media profiles of his family, I mean, it's kind of wild to go through, because you see, they seem to be a very close family. They go fishing together. They do all these different things together.
Years ago.
One recurring theme that you see all over the place on their social media is that this was as big of a gun family as you can get. Tyler was clearly introduced to guns at a very, very early age, and clearly he's a proficient shot, needless to say. And there's pictures of him with all kinds of firearms. Some of the biggest firearms I've ever seen, he has pictures with. So definitely, without a doubt, from this like gun culture, there's no denying that. And now you have, I think some of the family members are scrubbing their social media of the pictures with him because, and we'll get to this later, but they're getting a lot of hate right now, and people are
not scrubbing it; they're just turning it off. So because they're getting so much hate, which I don't agree with, but I understand. People are upset. So yeah, I would turn off comments, and I would turn off, deactivate my accounts for a while to let all this blow over. Absolutely. Why wouldn't they? They're not scrubbing it to hide anything. They turned in their own son. What are they hiding?
Castigating and berating the family, even though it was the family that turned in Tyler. So now let me get into some of the specific motives. So Tyler Robinson, I'm seeing contradictory information at the moment, and that is not surprising because with a name like Tyler Robinson, there's probably like hundreds of thousands of them in this country. But some of the reporting is indicating that he's registered nonpartisan. And then some of the other reporting is indicating that he's a registered Republican. Okay, so I've seen both of these things floating across my timeline. But what we know for sure is he is not a registered Democrat. That is a fact. Okay, let's keep going. So there were inscriptions on the shooter's ammunition, Tyler Robinson's ammunition. And here's what it said. Ready? One of them said, "Notices bulge, OWO, what's this? Notices bulge, OO, what's this?" So that's clearly some sexual furry type shit. Forgive my boomerdom on this particular topic, but clearly that's some weird sexual anime furry type shit, I guess. Possibly. I don't know. You tell me.
His boyfriend who's in transition.
We have "Hey Fascist Catch" was written on other ammunition.
Just that bullet alone proves that he's Antifa, or was trying to represent Antifa. And that's far left. Just that one alone. And then the rest, there's some arrows going at an angle engraved into one of the casings, and that is an Antifa symbol. And I'm going to show you why and how I know that here in a minute, or kind of proof of that. And it's going to kind of expose the gentleman who asked the last question before Charlie Kirk was unalived. It's going to expose that he's possibly was in the know and asked that question. And he has this fake, yeah, I disagree with everything Charlie Kirk says, but I don't agree with this, when he is part of Antifa because he was interviewed in his bedroom and he has all kinds of flags hanging up, rainbow flags, which is, we know everything that those all represent. And then he has an Antifa flag and some other flags. And so he was possibly part of that terrorist cell, possibly, but he's definitely would have supported something like that. So I'm just kind of guessing that maybe he knew about it, and that his sympathy for the situation is possibly disingenuous or fake.
Oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow.
Which is an old Antifa fight song. You can't twist it any other way. At first, Kyle Kalinske tries to say that he's a groiper, which is a Nick Fuentes follower. I don't know much about them, so I don't want to speak on that. But he's definitely was not a groiper, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Don't take my word for it. Just Google it or put it into X or whatever. I don't want to spend a ton of the show, showing all these other things. It's not that I'm like trying to hide that information. It's absolutely positive that he was not a groiper or part of that, not even a little bit. Because that would be the only association. It would be like 10 against 1 that he had any kind of groiper information on there at all. So yeah, this dude, he's just a grifting POS, and so is Keith Edwards. And I don't even want to show anything about Keith Edwards, But the next day, the very next day, Kyle Kalinske came out again and said some things that, it's proof he's far right. He's far right. He's absolutely not far right. We all know it. Why would someone take out their own? I do. You know what? The next show, I'm going to show some Keith Edwards. You know, we're going to, every time these guys, like, I've been wanting to do shows on these dudes for like a few months. And now the Charlie Kirk thing has just put me over the edge to show how these dudes grift and lie on the left, and how, like, I'll show you I'll show you a news story that shows it to be left, shows it to be right, and I'll show you where these guys land. And then we'll show you the center one, and we'll show you where these guys land, and they just lie. That's all they do. And I wish I was articulate enough to be another Charlie Kirk out there, because as upset as I am about this situation, I am Charlie. I am. But I wish I was articulate and succinct enough to go out there and to debate these kids, and to be persuasive enough as he was. You know, these kids would, these far left kids would come to his debates, and by the end they would ask for a Trump hat, because they said, you know what? I've heard the truth today. They realize that they've heard the truth. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Okay, let's get back to
I don't know. I have my doubts. Cernovich says, I guarantee the FBI was in that Discord server, and that's why we won't get it before it's been scrubbed. Well, but at the same time, Republicans could easily subpoena Discord for all of the information. I'm not sure if this law applies to Discord. It does, but it says that internet services are required to keep records for at least 7 years. So deletes on front end and employee back end should be soft deletes. The records are still there. Adam Townsend, Cernovich is right. Discord chat logs have to be opened up for public inspection, and any government agency or contractors that were participants have to be identified. Should already have happened. Feels like they want to distract, and this is one reason for the obvious psyop. Why are they taking so long for this? Because this could be instant. Literally instant, especially with the tools.
Look, it's been less than a week, man. These things do take a little bit of time. They can't be instant. You know, let the FBI investigate.
That are right now to be able to check thousands of logs, like in a matter of minutes. Jason T. Lewis, Discord has now purged everything related to him, yet said there was nothing in there. Yeah, okay, they went through hundreds and thousands of pieces of info. Sure, we need to know all about the communities he was a part of online. Discord, Telegram, TikTok, Reddit, everything. That is urgent. Remember that the last question that Charlie Kirk answered before he was murdered was about trans violence. And just in case I forgot to mention this in my other videos, this was the guy who asked that last question to Charlie. Let's watch this video just in case.
And people have obviously pointed to the irony that the point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before he got shot. And that only makes sense if we stay peaceful. And as much as I disagree with Charlie Kirk, I'm on the record for how much I disagree with Charlie Kirk, but like, man, dude, he is still a human being. Have we forgotten that? Are we crazy? Like,
I mean, I took a look at this video. My first reaction was, okay, it seems like he's telling the truth, or he's a very good actor. Either way, his eyebrows are raising, and pretty much it looks like grief. And he's actually saddened by the event. This is what I see. I don't know what, maybe you can see something different and can point this out. That was my first impression. I mean, this has been so fast in so many ways, and there are so many questions still yet to be answered. Like, well, the fact that armed queers, Salt Lake City just wiped all of their social media. Are they one of the leftist Antifa groups implicated with Tyler Robinson? Is that? And also, you might know the Krasensteins from X. Well, the Krasenstein brothers were following Charlie Kirk's assassin Tyler Robinson's alleged transgender boyfriend on TikTok. And that guy has only like 300 followers on TikTok. What are the odds? How can this happen? You remember that when...
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. I want to get to more of the... So here's Charlie Kirk's girlfriend, boyfriend.
Draw your own conclusions from this. Also, we have more information coming out. This is so overwhelming. I know that can be a bit hard to digest because this is just in the past 10 or 12 hours tops that has happened. New in December 2024, Lance Twiggs, the transgender roommate of Charlie Kirk's shooter, his lover, changed his Steam name. His Steam is a gaming platform, from Lance to Luna. The account matches his TikTok username and links to a Reddit profile active in transgender forums discussing hormones and transitioning. I mean, again, more information. I'm going to stop for a second, trying to catch my breath with this one, and give you my thoughts about this. I'm going to tell you what are my thoughts about this. I think that Tyler Robinson landed a long time ago, many years ago, in this Discord channels. And he began to have more and more contact with ultra left wing groups. And at some point, maybe, I don't know, maybe he is gay, and that's why he had in those bullet cases. So notice this bulge. Oh, well, that's something that is lingo in furry community for gay men who are chasing furries. So it would fit. So maybe he fell in love with one of these transgenders, and the transgenders are basically blue-balled him into doing the ultimate favor for them, taking out their arch nemesis. And he, knowing how to shoot, he said, okay, I'm going to do it just to be in good graces for you, with all of you, with these transgenders. That is just my theory. That's what I think they could have happened. I'm not saying that was what actually happened, but with all the ingredients out there, with all the pieces of the puzzle already laid out, well, this is the stage that we are at. I don't know. As soon as I have more information, I will let you know. Let me know.
Yeah. So there you have it with him. I do. Oh yeah. I wanted to show you. You guys remember the guy that was, after he fell, this guy right here, this piece of shit, he was like cheering and then tried to say that, oh no, I was trying to create a diversion to keep people safe, that I actually saved lives. Well, there was a lot of pushback, and Enrique talks about it, and this is awesome.
And that he was, everyone was laying low, and he just stood up, and apparently he began shouting USA, USA as a distraction. That is what he claimed. But I think it's much better if we see the two videos that he posted to explain his actions. This is video number 1.
The event opened with music, people throwing hats, and loud exchanges from different parts of the crowd. Some shouted offensive remarks directed at the LGBT community, while others made disparaging comments about the Prophet of Islam.
It's obvious that he is reading from a paper or a screen. Very, very focused on it, and his eyes are reddish. We don't know why.
There were also cheers, boos, and offensive hand gestures, mockery. The atmosphere carried an energy of confrontation more than dialogue. The first debater tried to persuade Charlie to adopt Mormonism, but the exchange drifted into a disjointed back and forth of opinions. The audience eventually booed him off the platform. Another speaker raised the idea of restricting gun rights for transgender individuals, citing Donald Trump as an influence.
I don't understand why is he making all this introduction as in let's talk about the what led to my behavior or something as in well maybe an introduction to the moment itself. I don't know.
He began
Well, when people are lying, like this guy is, this guy's absolutely lying. When people are lying, they will give up too much information. They'll too much detail. They'll over explain. It's a common trait of liars, especially when they're recounting something. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but remember, hit that like button down below. It really helps the channel and to grow bigger and better and more diverse. Not that weird, creepy kind of government diverse. I'll Samsplain it for you if you want. You want to hear some Samsplaining? Just like the video down below.
After the bars, the story begins. A fight for the lost, a chance to win.
To save their innocence.
to reference statistics and posed a question. Charlie's response turned to the subject of gang violence as a part of the mass shooting statistics. At that point, I did not see what happened directly. My head was lowered while I listened. When I heard a sharp crack, at first I thought it might have been fireworks or a disruptive prank, so I looked up.
Oh, wait a second. This is important. This is important. He says he heard a sharp crack and he thought it might have been fireworks. All right? That will be important later on.
It might have been fireworks or a disruptive prank, so I looked up to the horizon for smoke.
I looked up to the horizon for smoke. He is looking for a justification of why he was looking up in the direction of the shooter. It is my guess.
When none appeared, I realized it must have been a firearm.
I realized it must have been a firearm. So he's saying that from the sound, he couldn't tell if that was a firecrack or a firearm, fireworks or a firearm. Okay, that is important.
My friend reacted in horror, saying Charlie had been struck. His voice and description told me how serious it was. Based on his reaction, I believe Charlie had been gravely injured. I instinctively checked the security team's movement, though I have no affiliation with them. Realizing the situation was dangerous, I stood and shouted USA, not as a provocation, but to project strength, encourage others, and create a distraction that might help calm panic or even save lives.
So basically, he wanted to do what Trump did at Butler, according to him. All right.
At that moment, no one knew whether this was a lone shooter or something coordinated.
Exactly.
My friend was devastated. He had
It's like something coordinated did not include him. I don't think that he was included in the thing. I think this is insane enough. It's an insane enough story I really have no idea what I'm watching right now.
admitted he admired Charlie deeply. I only knew Charlie through minimal content.
I only knew Charlie from minimal content. That is also important for later.
But would never wish to celebrate harm to anyone. Because of my background as a soldier,
I don't know. It's he has a background as a soldier. And he just said that he couldn't tell fireworks from
yeah, I heard it was
sound.
And I heard it was very distinct. Like the sound was very distinct, especially if you've been around gunfire at a range or in real life.
So it's something that I'm trying to wrap my head around that. As in, is that a possibility? You have experience as a soldier and you can't tell fireworks from a gun firing, a rifle firing? I don't know. Please tell me, what do you think about that in the comments?
I was able to stay calm under stress, focus on protecting and comforting my friend. Afterward, I called my wife to let her know I was safe. Once traffic eased, we left.
So that was the first video. You see that there was that contradiction. He began doing all this intro to the moment in which he did not see what happened. So the crack sounded and he thought it was fireworks at first or a prank. And the most important thing, the most relevant thing, by the way, the timing is a bit off. because the gun was shot. Charlie began bleeding, and then afterwards, when the people realized what was going on, it was when everybody went down. There was a certain delay in the reaction. Obviously, that people are not going to react immediately. It's going to be like a short delay. He's not accounting for that delay, and I don't know. Let's watch the second video. He published 2 videos to his account.
This one's great. Look at him.
You know, all this chatter is absolutely incredible, but I'm actually really burnt. I'm honestly like the happiest person you have ever met in your entire life.
It really doesn't show.
No.
It's hard to digest the part that you're the happiest person that
What?
we have met in our entire lives.
And I am absolutely sick of all of my soldiers, including Charlie, dying.
He just said that he barely knew Charlie from his content, and now he's saying that Charlie is one of his soldiers.
So you guys can mock each other. Mock away and see what happens. I am done with my soldiers dying while everyone just mocks each other. Mock, mock, mock. You think that that's a solution? You know, every major religion speaks out against mockery. And I saw mockery, and I saw a mob just energized with mockery, absolutely laughing. This is John Oliver. This is Matt Walsh. This is Louder with Crowder. This is all the mockery that's existed on both sides of the equation, and it's killing my soldiers, my people, and I'm done.
No, in fact, it's the hate rhetoric of the left, which is killing people. Just making that one clear.
I don't want to see my men die anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick. I didn't see Charlie die.
You mean that you didn't see Charlie being shot? Because nobody actually in the crowds saw Charlie die, because he was not dead, at least of what we know. I don't know. I think that somebody should tell him to just, man, chill out. Okay, maybe you had some kind of outburst or something, but we still have questions, and I don't know if you have not answered the question, but it's so hard to rally behind that. What was I'm gonna repeat the thing. Let's finish this video, and let's watch what he did and why did he do it.
I stood up.
All right.
My soldiers stand up. I stand up.
Okay.
And I'm not apologizing for standing up. I did what I was trained to do.
You did what you were trained to do. All right. You did what you were trained to do. You hear a rifle going off, a gun firing, and you stand up. I think that is one of the first things that you learn in military combat not to do, man. It's I don't have that much experience with firearms. Many people already know it, but I absolutely know that if you hear a gun cracking, it's bullets being shot, shots fired, you don't stand up. So that training, no, that's not it. So what did he do? Let's repeat this. This is from the first video.
Movement, though I have no affiliation with them. Realizing the situation was dangerous, I stood and shouted.
Realizing the situation was dangerous.
Realizing the situation was dangerous, I stood and shouted USA, not as a provocation, but to project strength, encourage others, and create a distraction that might help calm panic or even save lives.
All right, people were already laying low, to...
And look, the bottom line is this dude wasn't a Charlie supporter. He knew he was safe somehow. That's the bottom line. And all this, like his responses, and then the scripted lies, and then his like weirdo response. He's just a whack job, because we know he's not a supporter, because he said I was there with a friend who was a Charlie Kirk supporter, which who even know if that was true.
To not be struck by bullets. And usually that is a good strategy, because that makes you a smaller target. And so if you make people stand up, it's that you should be running, like going away. I don't know. There's a lot of fluff.
Movement, though I have no affiliation with them. Realizing the situation was dangerous, I stood and shouted USA, not as a provocation, but to project
A provocation for whom?
strength, encourage others, and create a distraction that might help calm panic or even save lives. At that moment, no one knew whether this was a lone shooter or something coordinated.
Exactly. Which means, why would you stand up? But you did know. You did know, brother. He absolutely knew. And I think that's the point where he was getting at. And there's so much more, man, to cover on this situation. But look, it's confirmed. The dude was far left. He'd been indoctrinated. There's nothing more needs to be said. Charlie Kirk's wife did do a video, basically, calling everyone to arms, not to arms, but to remember Charlie for him being a Christian and a God-fearing man of God. And I just, she's in pain. She's in pain. But be sure, if you guys haven't, go check that out. It's really good. I don't know if I want to show. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe we'll watch this on the way out. Here's the quartering, which I show a lot of here on the show. Well, I've been showing more of lately.
New to this thing. In fact, I'm leaving for church service in 25 minutes, and that's in honor of Charlie. The first time I will have willingly gone to church probably my entire life, and my hope is that I continue to do so, and I inspire others to do so. In fact, there's several of my friends that have texted me after seeing my videos or talked to me and said that they're going to be there today for their first time too. So that's great. There's something very interesting going on. I was in our Discord last night, and there's just like a chat room. And there's some pretty strong evidence that multiple people, as many as 6, all knew about this incident ahead of time. And they were also all trans. And
yeah, let's watch.
Apparently, the FBI is now opening up an investigation into several trans and far left groups in Utah, because this thing seems to be a lot bigger than, I certainly knew it was bigger than a lone individual, but let's take a look at where we're at. Obviously, I'm coming. Every time there's like a chunk of stuff to share, I'm putting out a video, so make sure you subscribe. If you want to be on top of it, join our members area at thequartering.com/join. Most of these stories are breaking there hours and hours before I can even, get a video done. And there's also a great community there. There's new churchgoer group. There's, EDC groups, carry groups. There's fantasy football groups. There's all sorts of stuff in there that is, it's just a good community. And so I'll leave a link in the description. Otherwise, it's just quartering.com/join. Speculation now grows that Charlie Kirk's assassin was tied to a leftist network after his trans boyfriend followed someone posting, quote, "We did it," minutes after Kirk's passing, and multiple out-of-state cars were seen visiting the assassin's home weeks before the hit. Now you see this. The family member said she saw twigs. This is the trans boyfriend. Brought in question for police. By the way, I am 100% convinced that the boyfriend absolutely, positively knew what's going on. Of course, he told him. Of course. Come on. Are we stupid?
He 1,000,000%
on the left. The Post observed Saturday that no one was at the $1,800 a month townhouse Robinson and Twiggs were believed to have shared. A neighbor claimed 2 weeks ago, several people driving cars with out-of-state plates were seen going in and out. They did not give off a good vibe, the neighbor said. Now, a lot of people say, hey, there's a college area in here and around in between these two, it's possibly a lot of out-of-state people. But the thing is, neighbors generally know what's out of place. So if you were used to seeing a bunch of cars with out-of-state plates in your neighborhood, you wouldn't say, hey, there was a bunch of cars with out-of-state plates in your neighborhood. Certainly not, the vibe. And we see, obviously, this Churbum75M who tweeted, "We effing did it." And this is allegedly the trans boyfriend of the individual. Now you see this. That's just the beginning. Here's a post from Aesthetica. Meet Skylar Webster. Skylar is a radical far-left trans individual who had advanced knowledge of Kirk's assassination. 5 days before the posting, 5 days before the incident, he posted, quote, "You guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it." Then right after the shooting, he followed up and quote tweeted that post saying, "Well, that's that. And another chud bites the dust."
All these
he followed up those tweets with a few other posts celebrating Charlie's death. Skylar is an iSchool student at University of Washington. We found these tweets. Skylar immediately locked his account. Clearly, he has not yet been contacted by the FBI. Please share this video with the FBI on Twitter or whatever. Why haven't they investigated him or other trans accounts who seem to have prior knowledge of the incident? Of course, you see here. Well, you see, you guys, it's something big. This is on September 5th. And, well, that's that. So they knew.
Yeah, the guy posted, "Hey, there's something big coming up." And then they posted, "Well, that's that." What the F? What the F? This is going to open up a broader conversation here on After the Bars. We're going to get super political on this one. I'm sorry, guys. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. But as his brother in Christ, I have to talk about this stuff. I have to. I would be doing myself a disservice if I didn't, and I would be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't do it. And to keep your belief that I am my most authentic self here on YouTube. There's no way I could do what else would I do? Oh, hey, Karen Reed's going to court, or, hey, check out this, check out that. Like, look, I have to talk about this stuff. I'm sorry, guys. It's going to make me cry. Like, I don't want to be a political platform. I'm a prison recovery show who talks about court, who talks about recovery. But I can't be quiet on this. I just can't. The left are wrong. They are inciting violence. Look, we'll get right back to this. I'm going to show you something.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're at a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
You can only push people so far, and then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
This is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high.
No. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
And we're going to fight it in the streets. It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
Yes, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know.
That is, that's basically them speaking to Tyler Robinson. You know guns. You know how to use them. Use them. Don't just sit there. I can't just sit here and let it happen without shouting it from the rooftop. You're not hearing that on the right. I'm sorry. You're not hearing that from Republicans. You're not hearing that from me, a centered right Republican. We call for peace, debate, love. Okay, let's get back to this video and then we're going to shut it down.
Of course, Skylar's real name is Luke Webster. You can see here. So Aesthetica, sorry, seems to be doing very, very good work. Very, very good work. This is the boy that Tyler was dating. Again, a neighbor claimed 2 weeks ago that several people driving cars with out-of-state plates were seen going in and out and did not give off a good vibe. Also, someone saying he wasn't liberal. Why would you think he's rational? Blah, 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 blah.
I'll just get to the point. He had a trans furry boyfriend. 6 other transgenders had prior knowledge of the shooting. His family and friends said he had turned to extremist liberal ideology. His trans boyfriend's family and friends say that the boyfriend had turned to far left extreme ideology. All but one of the shell casings were tagged with far left messages, and he unalived a conservative. He is the most far left mass shooter in the history of this country. Trying to deny it just makes you look completely insane. We're not insane here on After the Bars. My viewers aren't insane. We know what happened to Charlie Kirk, and we know why it happened to Charlie Kirk. It can't happen again. We can't sit by and let these left media outlets, the Kyle Kalinskis, the Keith Edwards, and there's another one that I forget right now. We can't let them keep lying because we don't know who's listening. So we have to be the opposition to that. And we have to come from a place of love, understanding, debate. And when it comes to politics, if I try to prove a point, I'll try to do it from a non-biblical point of view. And then from a biblical point of view, from the morality of our Creator, we'll just give it some backbone, give it some more foundation. I am Sam. This is the Mayhem Report. I'll see you guys tomorrow.